speech there. There's a reason why he went first. And now I'm feeling all sorts of pressure to actually come second, because I'm thinking about pivoting, and I'm thinking about spending the next 30 minutes talking about how Rowan Sharma and Phil and Coley, all my being prior to Veeam was in service provider and partner land. I worked at VCSP. My last 3 jobs were data format allows. Security and AI is obviously pivotal. We've been talking a lot about security. Security goes hand in hand with cyber resilience, and then data intelligence. What do we do with the data once it's sitting there? How can we make the data work for you in an intelligent way when it's actually there? So that is to say, how can we activate the data for our customers and for you all to monetize the services that you're offering? Our core building blocks haven't changed really over a number of years. But as you can see here, data backup, recovery, intelligence, all underpinned by our own native APIs talking to multiple platforms and an ever-growing set of capability. Again, when I started 8.5 years ago, we used to talk about vSphere backup. We used to talk about maybe MSSQL, Active Directory. Fast forward now, and we've got a ton of platforms that we support. All sorts of hypervisors, enterprise databases, object storage. No matter what, Veeam can now protect it, and you guys, as our partners, can monetize that and create services revenues as well. One of the big things that we push, and it goes with what I talked about a bit early on, is this concept of choice, the freedom of choice. Veeam has always been about that. It's why you partner with us, because you understand that when you install something with Veeam, you've got the flexibility to be able, again, to go from platform to platform, to back up from VMware, recover to Hyper-V, vice versa. Recovery is in place. With the acquisition of Codeware that you heard a few of our guys, Sandy and Amal, talking about yesterday, this has really rounded out our capability. We are the only vendor that can offer end-to-end backup protection and now post-incident response with our Codeware solution. It's a fascinating world to be able to go in and offer a solution that helps customers during their darkest day. And having spent time with the incident directors of Codeware, it's really quite fascinating. But this is just to say that through our Veeam Cyber Secure, which is a program that we started last year, it's really given our customers the ability to have end-to-end confidence that with Veeam, you're going to be able to protect, recover, and then if something does go wrong, have the confidence to recover without too much reputational damage. So that's our Veeam Cyber Secure and where we're at with our security. Okay, now I'm going to go into some product roadmap. And because we've been growing up as a company as well, we now have these statements, which we never actually had before. So it's kind of exciting to talk about roadmaps by Veeam and giving the sort of grown-up version of what you want. From I've been able to detect what was happening inside the backups at the time of backup, therefore recover from a clean point. That's very important moving forward. So 12.3 had a bunch of enterprise features. If you haven't seen them, please go and check it out, talk to your technical teams. And then we also introduced a little bit about what Amal said yesterday with our indicators of compromise. Now, before, during, and post-backup, we believe we have the most complete end-to-end technical solution to, again, get to that point that when you recover, you're going to recover with confidence. Again, I've said that a number of times already. It's so critical to have a backup vendor and a platform that allows you to recover quickly and validated and with confidence. So we believe that all the additional bits that we're putting into the software, in Veeam Backup Replication specifically, is moving to this reality where Veeam becomes the most complete end-to-end. We're only going to get better at that with V13. Not only are we doing it ourselves within the engine, we're also working with key partners to make sure that we can work with them to make sure that what they do really good from a EDR, MDR point of view, detection, SIEM integrations, real high-end enterprise stuff, which I know a lot of you guys actually rely on as well. If they detect something through their systems, they can talk to us and let us know that something's going wrong within the platform and maybe trigger a backup, or vice versa. So we're really concentrating on that ecosystem play with the security space, which is shown in this next slide in greater detail. Again, too big to sort of take note of and grant off everybody. The key part here is that we understand that Veeam is the central part of the backup strategy, but we also need to work with specific vendors who do things that we don't to make your backups more resilient and more reliable. So this is really exciting as well. In terms of where we're going, I'm not going to go through this in any great detail. Again, I think it's more important just to take a look at this and just to absorb the fact that we've got a lot of features and functionalities coming with the core product. So you would hear about us talking about enterprise focus. Sandy talked about this yesterday. We're heavily focused on the enterprise. The enterprise to me means service providers as well. But we're also as focused on making sure that Veeam Data Platform, Veeam Data Cloud, and our backup as a service is getting as much focus and features as the core product. So again, maybe take a photo of this, take a look at it. I'm going to go through some specifics, but suffice to say, the future is built around security, around validation, around recovery, and artificial intelligence as well. It's a really exciting time. I can't think of a time in my 8.5 years of Veeam where I've been more excited about what's coming in the next 24 months. So in terms of V13, this is the next release that's coming this year. It's actually going to be in two parts. We're initially going to release a version that's going to be effectively Veeam Backup and Replication on Linux. So, or have a Linux flavor of your choice and deploy Veeam Backup Replication on that, and then allow you to do zero trust architecture, a more hardened approach, use the great stuff with Linux around the privileged access control, the high availability capability that Linux gives us, and then also advanced RBAC, something that we haven't had in the products really, apart from maybe having Windows admins being able to shift and control access to the Veeam console. So now being able to dive into Linux gives us the ability to give more granular control to the platform. Because as we know, what are the bad guys targeting when they first get into the platforms? They're targeting the backup server. So part of this journey to Linux is again to give our customers and our partners more sense of ease that the backup platform will be protected. So it's very, very important this for us. Security enhancements go hand in hand. We'll continue to increase and enhance our Yarrow scanning for post-incident recovery, and also our inline malware detection will continue to get better as well. The hardened backup server, I'm not going to go through this in any great detail. Suffice to say, this just means that when you deploy Veeam Backup and Replication, almost with a single click, you're going to have the ability to trust that it's going to be secure from day dot. And then we will then control updates, CVEs, wherever might come out. We'll be able to control that through our own platform to make your jobs a little bit easier and your customers' jobs a bit easier. A little bit of a look at it. So this is just an example of some configuration items on our new web UI. I'm not going to go through it, but I think so customers couldn't recover at that point. With high availability, we're going to be able to now allow that continuous backup even when you're doing a back-end upgrade. So while it sounds like quite a medial sort of feature, it's actually very, very important for us to add this. And then from an enterprise point of view, adding one-click failover and failback also allows us to be a lot more resilient in this really scary day and age of cyber attacks. A quick little look at it and what it will look like, just to show you that it's not vaporware. This is actually in our current RC builds that we're seeing. Now we are actually going to go to betas very soon with this release, so stay tuned for that. The technical teams will be able to get their hands on the product. Advanced RBAC, again, is worth spending a little bit of time on because this goes hand in hand with our MFA, our 4Is, and also the auto log off and log on that we've been bringing in V12, 12.1, 12.2, and 12.3. It's all about enhancing and making sure that the console is secure from any malicious intent, either external or internal. Okay, because again, the backups are being targeted, and it's very important we protect that. So just being able to add more granular control, as you can see here, again, probably can't see it too clearly, but just adding more granularity in who can control the backup, who can control the recovery, maybe some self-service capability. This is very critical, especially for help desks in your environments and in your work streams. Veeam 1 is also getting quite uplifted. If I have learned anything over the past, well, even before I started at Veeam, I used to use Veeam quite heavily because it had really great features and functionalities, but I think a lot of people, customers, a lot of enterprises, a lot of service providers and partners don't quite know yet. So what we're doing is we're doubling down on Veeam. There'll be a bit of a marrying in terms of consoles, so we'll be able to bring Veeam, elevate the UI, and bring it into a singular console with VDR. It's very important. I talked about UI and UX being very important. But also what we're doing is we're increasing what it can do. Obviously, Veeam Intelligence, which we released at the end of last year, 12.3, came primarily in Veeam. Because Veeam has the ability to see reporting, it can see all of the environment, it can see the backups, the proxies. It's got a really good visual cue on what's happening in your environment. So we're going to continue to upgrade Veeam as we release features and functionalities across both the Veeam Data Platform and Veeam Data Cloud. Veeam will be that central monitoring, analytics, and reporting location. So if you're not using Veeam, it's time to take a look at it for sure. Okay, I'm going to finish off with Veeam Data Cloud because this is a very critical part to our future as well. We have gone very hard at this as a company. We're now there's very distinct go-to-markets, but they do come together and cross over without question. If you think about my talk about choice, how we understand that a customer will drive where the workload will be, how they back up. And M365 is a really good example of that. We've had great success with our VCSP partners offering M365 services themselves, building and innovating on that product. But now, there's obviously the capability to make it a bit easier for those partners, if they so choose, to not manage and keep that infrastructure up to date, not manage with the headache of what it is to do day-to-day operations. So this is where Veeam Data Cloud comes in. And as you can see at the moment, we're doing M365 backup, we're doing Azure backup, and we've just released our Veeam Vault storage as a service. But we're only just getting started here. The idea with this whole Veeam Data Cloud is that we will have the data that we can then control for our customers, and through that, VCSPs and partners can have some level of elevated control into their own customer data to be able to do meaningful stuff with. Because once you control the data, like you know, you can start to get more insights out of it. You can activate the data. So if we're backing up our customers' on-premises environment, taking it to Veeam Vault, while at the moment it might just be there for recovery, think about 24 months ahead, and maybe we can do some meaningful actions, PII scans. We can scan that data for all sorts of great stuff in the generative AI technology that presents us today. This is where Veeam Data Cloud, I think, is going to have its greatest day. So, in terms of what's coming, this is what we had last year. So again, I've talked about this, Vault, M365, Azure, and we also enabled our VCSPs to transact and actually offer M365 to their customers and partners. What's coming in 2025? We're releasing Entra ID. We're releasing Salesforce Backup. We're releasing VDR as a service, and it's worth touching on this a little bit. This is going to be our first foray into having a space, a UI, where you can maybe see multiple VDR servers and control them. Now, you can't do everything. This isn't talking about Veeam Data Cloud doing backup as a service. It's actually talking about having a control plane to be able to start to have a single UI to see multiple locations that have Veeam Backup Replication. So this is one of those where I'll go, watch this space, see how it evolves, but we've got some pretty audacious goals around this, right? So this is quite interesting. And finally, we're looking at introducing Kasten as a service as well. So if you think about the three big things that I've talked about, Entra ID, Salesforce, and Kasten. Sandy mentioned yesterday that Salesforce is a $1 billion business in India, and it's probably going to grow. That data needs to be protected. So in the old days, we would have said, you take our Salesforce product, you look at how to design it, architect it, create the storage, manage it, and then you handle all that. Create the web interface, manage your customers. While that might be great, it might be even better to effectively use Veeam Data Cloud to do that and just click the ticket along the way. It takes a little bit of operational headache away from you guys. So I think things like Entra ID, Kasten, and Salesforce make absolute sense for our partners to look at Veeam Data Cloud. And finally, we're going to take AWS Vault, and at the moment it's purely on Azure, and that's great. It's a really strong product that we have going on at Azure, but we understand that people want this to be in AWS and beyond. So towards the end of the year, we'll start to have options in the console to place your storage buckets either in Azure or on AWS. So again, freedom of choice. And as we develop that, I foresee that going to multiple clouds, multiple platforms as well. Potentially even smaller hyperscalers as well. And within APJ, we think of the likes of Alibaba, Tencent, and whatnot. This is my vision for APJ, is to extend Vault, not just to AWS, not just to Azure, but to the hyperscalers in general. I wanted to spend a little bit of time just to finish off on Kasten. Kubernetes backup, in the general world, outside of India, it's probably slowed down a little bit, right? But I know I'm talking to companies, enterprises within this country that it's still being used and its accelerated use is only getting stronger. So Kasten is our solution to be able to protect Kubernetes workloads, whether it's on OpenShift or whether it's in the public cloud. It is the #1 solution for that. So this is what we've done in the past 12 months with our Kubernetes solution. But more importantly, what's coming ahead, right? So the focus area for Kasten will continue to develop. We'll continue to get feedback from our customers. And I do strongly believe that India is going to actually lead the way here in terms of shaping this product. So again, if any of you deal with Kubernetes, great opportunity to shape this product as well. So very exciting there. Okay, I think I'm going okay for time. I just want to finish, 5 minutes, very good, perfect timing. I do want to finish on our AI strategy. And I think what we saw previously with data being created end-to-end, again, I just want to reiterate, we're in this amazing period of time where we're having data created en masse. We understand that data is so important. We heard yesterday that we have to keep it secure. A lot of focus is on that side of it, the negative side of it, right? But what I believe is that it's going to open up lots of opportunity for partners. Talk to the Veeam Data Platform APIs, and we can get really meaningful insights very quickly into what's happening. Now, we've brought that obviously into Veeam 1, and we're going to start to expand that into all of our products. So you'll see Veeam Backup Replication, the new UI, and Veeam Intelligence. You'll see our Veeam Service Provider Console have Veeam Intelligence in there. You'll see our Veeam Data Cloud have Veeam Intelligence in there. The big part about this is we don't want to make it a gimmick. We don't want to do AI for the sake of AI. What we want to do here is make sure that your customers, your backup admins, even the business owners and the CXXs can step on a Veeam server, access the chatbot, and get meaningful information back from that system, right? In a very efficient way. Being able to talk to a platform and say, hey, tell me about my security posture. Have I had any malware in my system in the last 5 days? And having the LLM work with the RAG-based model, which we talked about yesterday, which I'll talk about, get live data, have that processed by the smarts of the LLM, and then give you a response that's quick and meaningful. It's so powerful, right? And I encourage you to go and actually try this out in Veeam Intelligence today to see what it actually is doing today. But the future here is basically our tech. So very excited about where we go with Veeam Intelligence. Stay tuned for Veeam On. We're going to have a lot more about this. Go past that. So finally, just to wrap up again, the key thing about Veeam from a partner perspective, from the ability to work with us, why we've been so great with our VCSPs, MSPs, and other types of partners over the course of the journey, is because we do offer choice. And that's the biggest benefit of Veeam, choice and a portable data format. So with that, thank you very much. Again, if you want to chat to me, please come and talk to me about product. Come and tell me what's working, what's not working. We've got all day in June. I'm happy to hear. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you. Had a presentation that was